So, hey, thanks for watching. This is the Ranger Taekwondo Dream Open 2020 planning meeting. It's hosted by myself, Master Ben, and Master Dennis. Okay, so just real quickly, just some brief hits on what we're going to be talking about through the agenda. We're going to be talking about the tournament site, logistics, talk briefly about the schedule, responsibilities for both the coaches and the parents, volunteers needed, lunch planning, and representing Ranger TKD. And then lastly, with a Q&A session. First topic, tournament site. So as you all know, this is being hosted at Independence High School. This is in South San Jose. Pro tip, do not head to 1776 Educational Park Drive. So again, one more time, that's 617 North Jackson Avenue. You'll know you're in the right place because you're gonna see the big parking lot, and you should see, at the time when you arrive, a bunch of folks wearing Taekwondo uniforms, so you'll know you're in the right spot. So we're now gonna talk about logistics. Parking's free, so don't worry too much about having to pay for parking. As far as communications are concerned, the coaches are gonna have two-way radios. They're gonna be talking amongst themselves, as well as one parent that we will nominate that will hold in their possession one of these two-way radios so that we can have some communication between the coaches and the parents group. And then lastly, we're gonna have a WhatsApp group text. So from there, we hope the flow of information is gonna be quick enough so that everyone's gonna know what's going on. We'll talk more about that in these later slides.
Overall schedule. The tournament will pretty much begin at 7:30. You don't have to arrive at 7:30. For everybody that's competing, we ask that you arrive at 8 o'clock, no later than 8 a.m. That way we can have everyone accounted for. Starting at 9 a.m., they'll have opening ceremonies. And then after opening ceremonies, they will begin the forms competition. After the forms competition, we'll break for lunch, and then there will be the sparring competition afterwards. For registration, what you will do is you'll go to the registration booth and you will look for the individuals there ready to give out the fight cards. So go on up, they'll probably ask you what your school name is, tell them Ranger Taekwondo, you'll pick up your competitor's fight card, and then you'll head to the admissions line. The admissions line will be where parents will pay for admission, and then you can proceed inside the gym. Please look for our Ranger Taekwondo banner. Master Ben and I will be there early to make sure the banner is in a good spot. So we will try to make sure everyone is in the same spot and ready to go. Before opening ceremonies begins, we'll try to have a couple of the coaches to go out and have the kids warm up and get them ready for their forms competition. Around 9 o'clock, they'll go ahead and do the opening ceremonies. At that time, we'll have all the parents grab their kids, and we'll line up by school and be part of the opening ceremonies. After our opening ceremonies is finished, please look for Master Ben or Master Dennis for instruction, and we'll let you know where your kid needs to be. Forms will begin after opening ceremonies. The order in which the forms happen will vary on each tournament. There's different forms. There's open forms, traditional forms, paired forms. Also, there may be other events such as board breaking or combination kicks or obstacle courses. Just keep in mind each division has a letter in front of it. So listen for the letter to know when it's time for your child to go. Also check the WhatsApp group to see which event is going on at that time. Master Ben and Master Dennis will also be pretty informed and know what is coming up next. When your division is called, please make sure you get your child to the staging area. Before the ceremonies begin and before the actual competition begins, keep note of where the staging area is so you'll know where to send your kids. Make sure one parent is with the child when they go to staging, and stay with your child during the staging process. Some of the operators of the tournament may ask you to step aside and only let the children be part of the staging area, please make sure you just follow the directions of the volunteers there, and just make sure you keep an eye on where your child is and where they're progressing in the staging area. Once it's time for them to go into their rings, they'll be assigned a ring, and just make sure you know which ring that is and relay it on the WhatsApp group. And also, if you hear or see any of our other students from Ranger Taekwondo, their ring assignments, make sure you post that on the WhatsApp group so everyone can know what ring they're at. The students will go into the ring and they'll stage there until it's their time to compete. After they compete, they'll be sent to the medal podium, also a place where we'd like you to kind of keep note of before the competition begins. As soon as they're done with their competition, they'll get shuttled directly to the medal podium where they'll get the medals. So please make sure after their competition is done, you move quickly to the medal podium so you can make sure you get photos of your child getting their medal. After your child is done with their competition, you are essentially done responsibility-wise. You can go to lunch early if you need to, if you want to. If you're not doing sparring in the afternoon, you're actually free to go. So if you have other things to do and you need to leave, you can go ahead and do so. If you want to stick around and watch the sparring, you can do so as well. Lunch will happen around 12 o'clock, depending on how well the tournament is run. If they're running a little bit behind, they may not have a lunch break. So just keep an eye on that, and also check with Master Ben and Master Dennis, and they'll let you know if they're going to have a lunch or not. Sparring is conducted the same way. There'll be a staging area, so please listen for your division number, and then move to the staging area with your child to make sure you know which ring they'll get assigned. Once they get to the ring assignments, make sure you get to that ring so you can watch and support your child. Once they're done with their competing at the ring, then they'll go to the medal podium, just like forms. Going to the medal podium, they'll get their medal, and then they'll be done for the day. Once your child is done with sparring, there's no other events afterwards, so they'll be done for the day. You'll be released. We usually like to get a picture with everybody that sticks around at the end of sparring, so if you can, please just let us know if you are going to leave. That way we'll know who's going to be available for the picture or not.
All right, so on this slide, we're going to talk about the responsibilities which the coaches have. So these are more behind the scenes things. So just to kind of share with you what's going on, we're obviously in charge of trying to get these guys stretched, warmed up. This is both for forms and sparring. So you can understand we're probably going to spend some time before each of these events begin. Also, we're trying to be mindful of however many competitors we have for that particular tournament and what part they are, what division that they're in, and how they align within the staging sequence. So it's a bit of plug and play, trying to kind of arrange things, keeping tabs on everybody. So just kind of being mindful that we're juggling that. So the more quicker that information is flowing, the easier our job gets in trying to help everybody. And then also, no doubt, coaching, right? There's obviously some coaching involved, trying to understand your kid and their feelings and how, what their mind state is as they're there, trying to guide them through the experience, both in forms and for sparring. And then for sparring, particularly in between the rounds, there's a moment for us to coach as well. So understand we're trying to get feedback from your kid. So it would help us if we can get the buy-in even from the day beginning to let the kid know, your kid, that the more information we know about them and how they're feeling in the moment, the easier it is for us to coach them. And then us, obviously, we hang around when it's the sparring event. So for the most part, it becomes a bit trickier in trying to jump from ring to ring, making sure that your kid has a coach. But we try our best to make sure that's taken care of.
Okay, responsibilities for our parents. I'll go over forms first. Forms, keep note of your division number. It will say either O or P and a number. Keep an eye on the WhatsApp group to see what numbers are being called at that moment. Also, they do have a loudspeaker that announces the P division numbers. Use the WhatsApp group as your main source of information. Master Ben and Master Dennis are in the staging area and walking around within the competition area, so they'll know best which division is up and which is currently going. If you're lost at all, please message the WhatsApp group or flag us down if you see us. When it's their number to go for the division for forms, please accompany your child to staging. Take your child to staging and place them in the correct line of the staging area for each division. Then you can move aside and let the volunteers do what they need to do to assign each child to their ring. When they have their rings assigned, please make sure you understand and you find out what ring they are at. Then your responsibilities at staging will be over. You will need to hurry up and go to their ring side so you can wait and watch for them to do their competition. Responsibilities for the parents for sparring. They'll be called by division. Once again, don't rely on the loudspeaker. Please listen or watch the WhatsApp group to see what division is being called. Escort your child to staging and then wait and see which ring they're going to be assigned. And then obviously accompany your child to that ring. There may be a little bit of a wait while they're watching and waiting for other children to compete. Please make sure when you go to that ring, you have water and snacks for your child to make sure to keep them fueled and hydrated so they're ready to go. We don't want to have your child getting a little bit tired or lethargic while we're sitting there waiting for quite a while. Waiting may take a little bit. You could be waiting up to an hour for other children to go up. It just depends on how well the tournament is run. And then once again, once they're done competing, they will be escorted to the podium. Please just follow your directions from Master Ben and Master Dennis. They'll let you know best when your child is coming up, if your child will be fighting again, what color they're going to be, if they're going to be moving from one ring to another. Master Ben and Master Dennis usually will be the best people to find out that kind of information. If something does happen without Master Ben or Master Dennis's knowledge, say your child gets moved to another ring, make sure you announce that to the WhatsApp group so everyone's informed, especially Master Ben and Master Dennis, so they can make sure that they can coach your child in the correct ring that they're going to be. Volunteers needed. We'll need a couple of volunteers to handle the radios during the competition. Master Ben and Master Dennis will also have radios and be communicating with one parent volunteer with information about ring assignments or division numbers being called. So if we need one parent that will be on the radio to make sure we disseminate that information. It doesn't have to be the same parent the whole time. If the parent needs to go and watch their child or support their child during their competition, they can easily hand that responsibility off to another parent. But we do need to make sure that at least one parent is on this duty at all times during the tournament. Lunch planning. For the USA Dream Open, which is located at the Independence High School, there are a lot of lunch options available. So we won't need to coordinate a group lunch. We will elect to go ahead and have all the parents take care of their own lunches on your own, but please make sure you inform the WhatsApp group if and when you're going to be leaving to break for lunch, and making sure you let us know when you'll be returning, and that way we'll be able to better prepare you guys for sparring competition in the future. If possible, eat early. When you're done with forms, go and try to get something to eat. If they're not hungry, try to get a snack in them, and then go get some food. And one of the best things will be to get the food and then come back and be near the tournament venue and eat. That way you guys can react and respond to anything that happens. Also check the WhatsApp group, as I mentioned before, for any updates. Another big thing is make sure you try to eat healthy. We don't want to be eating junk food before we go in the spar. A good saying, if you eat healthy, you're going to fight well. So make sure that the energy you go in is good energy.
Okay, on this slide, it's about representing Ranger Taekwondo. So let's make sure that we're being mindful that our kid is doing a good job of addressing anyone with yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am, everything with either a sir or a ma'am, being very respectful. We don't know most people there, so it's always better to be most respectful, better safe than sorry in terms of that. And also understand that when we're there in a tournament setting, We want to hopefully put on the best versions of ourselves, because we're not only wearing the Ranger TKD brand through our uniforms and through our t-shirts, what have you, right? We've got a lot of eyes that are watching as well. So there are reputations that are going to be built based on our behavior at these tournaments while we're wearing our gear. So let's make sure that we're on our best behavior. And lastly, just making sure that even for the parents as well, right? So all these parents are also like-minded. They're mostly parents from other studios with their kids as well. So always trying to be respectful to each other, right? And this kind of going along in the spirit with representing Ranger Taekwondo in the most positive way possible. And then lastly, just know that at these tournaments, the referees, they are, for the most part, very proficient, and they're black belts. So let's respect the decisions and the outcomes that it may be. You know, whether it's win or lose, you know, as long as we learn from this experience is what's most important. Okay, if you have any questions, please email them to us at our email address. As everyone may know, it's info@rangertkd.com, or you can also ask us through the WhatsApp group, right? So there's no such thing as dumb questions. It's likely, if you're thinking about it, there's another parent that is too, so just go and ask it, because you're probably helping the group. So please don't hesitate to ask us any questions. We're here to help you guys and get those answers out to you. Thank you for watching the video. We'll see you guys at the tournament.